Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into what is honestly one of the most audacious, head-turning business strategies we've seen in the wearable tech space in a really long time. I mean, we're looking at a brand new player stepping into an incredibly cutthroat market, and they aren't doing it with some budget-friendly option. No, they're swinging an absolute premium sledgehammer. It is a wild story of massive price tags, huge corporate ambitions, and a totally fascinating market experiment.
Section 1. The Rs 80,000 Wearable.
80,000 rupees. Just let that number sink in for a second, right? In a market that is just flooded with budget fitness trackers and mid-tier smartwatches, dropping a price tag of around 80,000 rupees is an immediate, aggressive statement. It completely bypasses the mainstream consumer. If you think about it, mainstream competitors like Apple or Samsung typically max out their standard, everyday wearables way below this mark. For 80,000 rupees, you could literally buy a flagship smartphone, a high-end laptop, or even start looking at entry-level traditional luxury watches. So, pricing a new health wearable up in this territory, it goes straight for the ultra-premium luxury tech demographic. It's designed for shock value, and honestly, it works. It instantly commands your attention.
But this brings us to a pretty critical question, doesn't it, for a first wearable? See, this isn't a third or fourth generation flagship from some massive, established tech conglomerate that spent a decade building up brand loyalty. This is a debut. It really forces us to ask, what kind of revolutionary tech, or what kind of unparalleled exclusivity does a brand new device have to pull off to justify asking you to part with 80,000 rupees right out of the gate? When you have literally zero track record in hardware, your margin for error is absolutely non-existent.
Moving on to part 2, inside Goyal's temple.
So there's this really deliberate mystery and confidence baked right into the branding. The startup is called Temple, and it's driven by its founder, Goyal. Just the name alone, Temple, it evokes this sense of sanctity, of exclusivity, maybe even a highly curated, almost religious devotion to health and wellness tech. And in luxury marketing, positioning yourself as an institution rather than just a manufacturer, that is everything. Brands that actually pull this off don't just get customers, they create a cult-like following. They aren't just selling you a gadget, they're selling you entry into an exclusive club. They're positioning themselves as a premium institution from day one, just totally skipping that normal introductory phase.
Which brings us to the wild reality of their market position. This is their first wearable launch. Usually, when a startup enters the hardware space, the traditional playbook says, okay, you start small, you offer competitive pricing to build up a user base, you gather data, you iterate, and then slowly, over years, you introduce a pro or ultra premium tier for your most loyal users. Temple by Goyal is completely ripping up that playbook. They are starting at the very top of the mountain. It's a massive opening move that signals just immense confidence in whatever proprietary tech or design they've got hiding under the hood. They're betting that starting at the absolute peak is going to create this aura of prestige that a bottom-up approach just could never achieve.
Section 3, a $500 million goal.
The crucial point here is this massive overarching ambition, a $500 million target valuation. Now, the math here is fascinating because it relies entirely on high margins rather than massive broad market volume. I mean, when you're selling units at 80,000 rupees a pop, you don't need millions of active users to generate serious revenue. You only need a tiny fraction of the customer base that a budget competitor needs to hit those huge revenue run rates. They literally don't need to sell to everyone. They just need to sell to a very specific, highly affluent demographic to start rapidly scaling toward that valuation. It's a strategy built purely on exclusivity and massive high yield per customer.
So the business plan is a literal two-step blitz. Step 1, bypass the budget market entirely and release your first wearable at 80,000 rupees. This instantly establishes a luxury baseline and secures massive profit margins per unit. Step 2, leverage that premium brand positioning and high revenue per user to drive straight toward a $500 million valuation. It is aggressive, it is incredibly fast, and it demands flawless execution. Because honestly, there's no fallback position here.
When we deconstruct these core facts, you can really see the sheer fragility of the strategy. You've got the debut hardware launch, the unapologetic premium pricing at 80,000 rupees, and that massive $500 million target valuation. It's a high-wire act, guys. Every single piece of this relies on the other. If step 1 fails, like if the product doesn't deliver an absolute 80,000 rupee experience in both hardware and software, the sales just won't materialize. And if that happens, step 2 evaporates instantly. The $500 million valuation just remains a dream. It's a masterclass in high-risk, high-reward entrepreneurship. There's absolutely no middle ground here. It is boom or bust.
Part 4. Can the market support it?
At the end of the day, the entire bridge between selling a single unit for 80,000 rupees
And achieving a $500 million valuation is consumer adoption. The whole overarching goal relies entirely on whether the market feels the value proposition actually matches that crazy cost. Temple is betting heavily that there's a severely underserved segment of consumers out there. But, who are they? Are they elite biohackers desperate for medical-grade accuracy? Are they traditional luxury watch collectors looking for a smart device that, well, doesn't feel like a cheap plastic toy? Or are they simply tech elites chasing the ultimate status symbol? Whatever this segment looks like, they want something far more exclusive and advanced than what the current mainstream giants are offering, and Temple is building the bridge specifically for them.
So what does this all mean? Will consumers actually pay the ultimate premium for a first-generation device from a brand-new startup? Goyal's Temple is betting $500 million that they will. It's a fascinating test of market psychology, the undeniable allure of luxury tech, and the audacity of a founder who just flat-out refuses to start at the bottom. Definitely keep your eyes on this one, because whether it succeeds brilliantly or fails spectacularly, it is going to teach us a lot about the future limits of premium wearables. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope this helped clear up exactly what's going on behind the scenes of this massive tech launch. See you next time.